What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we are now going to be going back to Duelist Nexus and talk about 10 more new cards that will be in the set, all of which include free agents, 2 brand new purely support cards, as well as 2 new support cards for the Mekanko archetype. But before we get into today's video, guys, we are 37 subs away from 200. We are drawing closer and closer to the goal of 200 subscribers. And as I have said in previous videos, if this channel gets to 200 subs, I will open up this Korean Strike of Neos booster box in its entirety on the channel, on the hopes to potentially pull this guy, Elemental Hero Air Neos. For some reason, they're calling it... People have called it the Forbidden Yu-Gi-Oh card. I don't know why. I just don't know. I just don't know. However, if the channel gets to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box on the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, Red Eyes, Dark Magician, Monster Reborn. You got the old school favorites. However, if the channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel, on the hopes to potentially pull a collector's rare. So if you guys want to see those boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more new card discussion videos in the future, maybe you guys want deck profiles, maybe you guys want WWE's biggest issue, maybe episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's biggest issue, maybe some WWE topic discussions, or maybe even also you want some premium live event predictions and results, which will be happening later this week. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys have not done so already, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And in case if you guys are wondering where I got these 2 from, this Korean LOB box and the Toon Chaos box, I actually got these from my partners over at Collector Store. So if you guys have not checked them out, be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. If you guys check them out physically, make sure you guys look for Ben and let him know that I sent you. He's an awesome dude. Shoutouts to him. Shoutouts to Collector Store. Awesome store. Website is amazing. Just those are incredible people, you guys. So check them out. Anyway, guys, so the free agents that we're going to be taking a look at are basically like remade versions of some old school cards. And some of them includes a remake version of Gaia the Dragon Champion, Behemoth the King of All Animals, and from what I'm seeing here, From what I'm seeing here, it looks like a much more revamped version of the spell card Ego Boost, which is kind of an odd card anyway. But these cards are absolutely insane. Can't wait to take a look at these free agents. So let's get straight into it. Kicking these off, we got the new Behemoth called Behemoth, the King of All Wars, which I believe the TCG is gonna be naming it that, but knowing the TCG, it might be like, but it might be like, you know something like Behemoth, the King of All Battles, or something like that. I don't know. But it is a 10-star Earth Beast with 2,700 attack, 1,500 defense, and it says you can normal summon or set this card with 1 tribute. And it has 3 separate effects. Let me turn this down. There we go. Sorry guys, I had to turn down the volume by a couple of levels so you guys could hear me. But anyway, the first effect reads: if this card is normal or special summon, you can target a beast, warrior, or winged beast monster in your grave, add it to your hand, and if you do, this card loses 700 attack. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. It is a monster. It is a monster reincarnation. The biggest the biggest problem here is that it loses attack, which is not good. But as long as you're able to but if the card were to be special summoned, you can just compulse it back to your hand and then normal summon it, and it won't succumb to the attack to the attack loss, which isn't too bad, but it does give you a way to regain control of the field just by bringing back like any beast warrior or winged beast monster, which I believe if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this card can be used with I'm trying to think. X-Sabers, Fire Fist, and there's a couple others. I know I know that Harpies can actually play this card, and as well as Tri Brigade Zoo, I think is the other one. There's quite a few decks that can actually play this card, which is pretty funny. But to be fair, this card would literally need to require a lot of tempo in order for this card to be summoned. You would literally have to have a fuck ton of monsters in your graveyard. Plus, you would need to have a monster on board that you either A, don't need, or B, its effects had already been negated off of the effects of an imperm to be able to go ahead and summon it and use its effects. So by that logic, the imperm would have been the perfect bait. So you would have to normal summon a monster, or rather activate a card like, say, Monster Reborn to resummon a monster from your graveyard, and then if it's a monster that has a powerful effect that can stop the opponent's board from being used, then obviously yes they would activate imperm, negate the effect, but it would give you access to tribute it off, summon out this card, and you're pretty much just off to the races there, which is pretty cool. To be honest. The second effect reads: this normal summoner set card is unaffected by activated effects from special summon monsters. Case in point, imperm. Imperm is an activated effect, and you can't use it on, or actually rather, I would say imperm, but I just realized special summon monsters. So cards such as like Borlo Savage Dragon, Appaloosa, those cards you can't use them. Plain and simple. The third effect reads: once per turn during your end phase, you can make this card gain 700 attack. I mean, it's not bad. It would regain its tempo, but if you were to compulse it back to your hand and normal summon it and normal summon it, instead of it being 2,700, it would go up to 3,400, which could rival, which could basically overpower a blue eyes white dragon, which is pretty nuts. Next up we have Magnum the Reliever. That's what she said. Anyway, it's It's an 8-star Light Fiend fusion with 2800 attack, 2000 defense, and requires a monster special summon from the extra deck plus a monster in the hand. Both of its effects are once per turn. Excuse me. The first effect reads: you can target one polymerization spell or fusion spell in your grave, place it on the bottom of the deck, then draw one card. It's sort of like a mini Pot of Avarice, but you're basically adding a spell from your grave back into your deck, and you're drawing a card, which is not bad. I mean, you're able to regain card advantage over your opponent that way, which is pretty cool. But there is a bit of a downside, and her name is Ash Blossom. So might want to have some hand trap negation ready, guys. Might want to have those ready. The second effect reads when another card's effect is activated as a quick effect, you can banish one polymerization spell or fusion spell from your grave, target a card on the field, and destroy it. Okay, so it does pop, but if you want to put it back into your graveyard, you would literally need to have exactly Cypherine Lord Omega, because Omega can take cards from the banish pile and put it back into the graveyard, which by that, in which logically speaking, that's pretty easy, because Omega is a generic synchro which can be summoned off of a Waken the Dragon if your opponent were to pop that card, and you would be able to summon Omega really easily. But if you have the materials to summon Omega, then just summon it normally. But for the most part, this card plus Omega, you basically have an infinite loop of ways to just break your opponent's board, which is pretty cool. Next up we have Gaia Blaze, the Force of Blazing Sun, which is a very long name, very long name, but it's a 7-star Fire Pyro Synchro. Never thought that would be the case. Wow. With 2600 attack, 2100 defense, and it requires a tuner and one or more non-tuners, so pretty generic. But it only works. But apparently the second effect has to do with fire monsters. So the first effect reads: when this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can activate this effect. This card can make a second attack in a row. It's essentially a Cyber Twin Dragon on steroids. That's all it is. That's pretty cool. Second effect reads: at the end of the battle phase, you can target a fire monster in your grave up to the number of monsters this card destroyed by battle this turn. Add them to your hand. Okay, so Battling Boxer can 100% definitely run this card. That Battling Boxer, Fire Fist, what are some other ones that Volcanics? I know that we're finally going to be getting some new Volcanic support, which I will be talking about the new support cards in the next week or so. So make sure you guys get ready for that video, because that one's going to be nuts. Let's see, Battling Boxer, Fire Fist, Volcanics, Salmon Gray is another really good one, another good deck that can actually run this card. Although, to be fair, with Battling Boxer, you would need to have exactly Waking the Dragon to use to summon it, which it's not difficult to summon a synchro monster in a heavy Xyz based deck, but it is pretty simple if you have Waking the Dragon. So that's not bad. That's actually not bad. Being able to just attack twice in a single turn, and to be able to add monsters from your grave back to your hand, that's not bad. That's not bad at all, guys. That's actually a pretty good card. Although, to be fair, cards like Ghost Bell and cards like Draco Berserker are still in the format. Funny enough, but what's even more interesting is that with some fire-based decks, there are ways that you can outmaneuver those cards, including cards like Mind Drain is definitely a good card to stop hand traps in their tracks. Cards like Fiendish Chain is still pretty good. I know that it's not as useful now, but I'm sure with the new Jack Atlas cards that we're getting, which again, those cards I'll be talking about pretty soon, so get ready for that. I'm pretty sure Fiendish Chain could definitely come back into the format at some point, but who knows? Who knows? But next up, we've got Thelamatech. I don't even know that one. I don't. Thelamatech Kratos? I probably butchered that one. I probably butchered it, but it's a rank 8 Dark Spellcaster Exceeds with 3k attack and 900 defense. And it says that it requires 2 level A monsters, so pretty generic. And it says that the second effect is a once per turn. The first effect reads, each time your opponent activates a trap card or effect, or a monster effect, place 1 spell counter on this card. When it resolves, max 9. Second effect reads, you can remove 3 spell counters from this card applying one of these effects. Add 1 spell or spellcaster effect monster from your deck to your hand. Special summon a spellcaster monster from your hand or deck. And the third effect, I didn't realize that it had 3 effects, but that's my bad. The third effect reads, if this card would be destroyed, you can detach a material from this card instead. That's actually not bad. That's actually not bad. So what I find funny is if your opponent were to activate Raigeki, not only would you be able to detach a material off of this card, but it would also gain a spell counter, or actually card or trap card or effect. Yeah, so basically, cards. I think cards like Raigeki, Dark Hole, those cards could definitely be used against. Could potentially be used against Kratos, but if you were to detach a material from it, it would still gain the spell counter when it resolves, because it remains on board, which is pretty hilarious. And not only that, it's basically spell and trap Rhoda mixed in with like a with a much more better version of a Cyber Ref system, where instead of summoning from the hand or graveyard, it's from the hand or deck. Excuse me, which is pretty cool. There's an arc note underneath that says, Thelema is the magical system of Aleister Crowley. Kratos is Latin for Weaver. Okay, all right, that's a cool nice little lesson there. Next up, we've got Hypermorph, or I guess Egomorph. I think is going to be the TCG name. So Egomorph is a quick play spell that obviously is a once per turn, and it reads, at the start of the damage step, if your monster battles an opponent's monster, activate one of these effects. Change the attacking monster to defense position, return the attack target to the hand, destroy both battling monsters. Okay, this is actually kind of funny. This is actually a really hilarious card, because not only is this essentially enemy control on steroids, because you could basically, it's no entry, compulse, and double trap hole rolled into one card. So it's sort of like an enemy controller, but a little bit different. So that's actually not bad. That's actually not bad. Being able to just break the opponent's board just by using this one card alone is pretty good. Although to be fair, there's gonna have to be some deck out there in the format that can run this card. I don't know exactly. Maybe Kashtira. I know Kashtira is still running rampant in the meta. Maybe I don't know. Maybe maybe Naturia Runic? Maybe, I don't know. That's kind of an odd one, but I mean, it's still a pretty good card, to be honest. There's a note underneath here that says Kodaika. Here means literally hyperbolification. Okay then, good enough. Okay then. This is the last card of the free agents, and it's known as Opposing Mirrors of the Underworld. And the effect is obviously a once per turn. And the effect reads: when you take damage from an opponent's attack or card effect, apply this effect based on the type of damage. Battle. Special summon a monster from your grave with attack equal or lower than the damage you took, and if you do, end the battle phase after the damage step. Effect. Inflict twice that much damage to your opponent. Oh. That's... damn. Well, that's one way to win games, especially if your opponent has like 1,000 life points and you took 1,000 damage. That's a pretty nasty way to win. I'm not gonna justify how nasty that card is. Although to be fair, there are a lot of cards out there in the game that are pretty bad. I think I would consider that one of them, perhaps, in my opinion. But now we got to talk about the two new purely support cards that will be in Duelist Nexus, and the first one is at Purely Noir. Excuse me. Which is a rank 2 Dark Fairy Xyz with 1,000 attack, 2,000 defense, and requires 2 level 2 monsters, and it has 2 separate effects. The first effect is a once per turn, which reads, you can discard 1 card, then target a card your opponent controls, or up to 2 if this card has purely sleepy memory as material, return it to the hand. It's basically a compulse. That's not much else to say about that. The second effect is a thrice per turn, meaning you can actually use it 3 times in a single turn, and it reads, when you activate a purely quick play spell as a quick effect, you can attach that card on the field to this card as material. Then you can set 1 purely trap directly from your deck. So one of the traps that you can actually set off of this effect is this card that I'm going to talk about now, known as Purely Sheerly, which is a normal trap, and I'll get to its effect here in a second. But this deck, the Purely deck, is basically a way to go into Zeus. It's another deck that can help make Zeus with a pretty good amount of board wipes. So as I have said in previous deck profiles and new card discussion videos, before, the more materials one Xyz monster has, the more board wipes you'll have for Zeus. Decks like Shark, Battling Boxer, Purely, as well as what's that one? Galaxy Eyes with number 38, Hope Harbinger Titanic Dragon Galaxy, I think is the name. Can also help make Zeus, which even now, even after a few years, Zeus is still a powerhouse, which is pretty cool. But as far as purely Shirley goes, the effect reads, target 1 purely exceeds monster you control, special summon 1 level 1 purely monster from your deck, which I believe is just purely, but its effects are negated, and if you do, special summon from your extra deck a purely monster with the same rank as the targeted monster, but a different attribute, by using the summoned monster as material, which is treated as an XC summon. Then you can take from your deck a card with the same name as a purely quick play spell attached to the targeted monster as material, and attach it to the XC summon monster as material. Okay, so it's a bit confusing, I get it, but basically what what you do is you target 1 purely exceeds monster you have, special summon purely from your main deck with its effects negated. Then you're able to special summon a purely monster with the same rank as the purely monster you targeted, but with a different attribute. So let's say, for example, you wanted to target, let's say the rank 7 dark X purely monster. Let's say that you would have to summon the light attribute one, because they're both the same rank. I believe they are both the same rank. And then you would be able to use the summoned monster as the material, which I believe is the purely exceeds monster that they have on board. And then you would be able to take a card from your deck with the same name as a purely quick play spell that was attached to the exceeds monster as material, attach it. So it's basically exceeds import it's basically exceeds import, just a bit confusing. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say anything else. I don't want to go in too deep with that card. Let's move on. Let's move on, people. Next up is the Mekanko support cards. There are only 2, which will be the last 2 that we'll be talking about in today's video. And before we get into the last 2 cards, I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which is this. How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Duelist Nexus based on all the cards that I've talked about so far over the last few months? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm very curious of what you guys have to say, because honestly, this might go down in history as one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh sets of 2023 overall. Like, probably in the last 5 years, I would probably consider this to be the best, in my opinion, just because of the fact that we're getting support cards that, you know, for certain archetypes that we did not think would ever come to pass again, which is pretty cool. But the first of the new Mekanko cards is Arahime, the Manifested Mekanko, which is a 9-star light fairy ritual with 0 attack and defense, and it says that you can ritual summon this card with Mekanko Kagura, which I believe is not that. Okay. The first effect is a once per turn, but it has 3 separate effects. The first effect reads, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, and you have another Mekanko card in your grave, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, equip it with this card. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Straight to the point. It's basically, it has the effect of a Thousand Eyes Restrict, which is pretty funny. Second effect reads, once per turn during the end phase, if this card is equipped to a monster, you can return this card and the equipped monster to the hand. It's a double compulse. Plain and there's really not much else to describe these cards, except the fact that this effect is a compulse. There's really not much to talk about. The third effect reads that it cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles upon this card. Okay, so this is basically Yubel on steroids, because because with Yubel, she can't be destroyed in battle, and any damage that you would have took from battles involving Yubel, your opponent takes instead. That's why people don't run Yubel for some dumb reason, because they know how broken it is. Which, again, I take offense to it, because Yubel is a pretty badass card. The artworks on all three of her forms are incredible, and I know that everybody kept saying that Yubel is a male. No, it's a female. I'm just throwing that out there, people. Yubel is a female. If you guys didn't realize it from watching the fucking anime. Yeah. If y'all didn't notice it from watching the anime, yeah, Yubel is a female. But to be fair, this one, Arahime, again, it's basically Yubel on steroids. Your opponent takes battle damage that you would have took. You're able to compose both this card and the equipped the monster that's equipped with this card back to your hand, and you're able to equip this card to another monster on board, which is incredible. Not much else to say about that. And funny thing is that there's a note underneath that says this card is visually referencing the Kyubi no Kitsune, a great and powerful yokai with a 1,000-year lifespan, considered to also be an incredibly adept and powerful sorcerer. I mean, it's a little history lesson there, so that ain't too bad. Now for the final card of today's video. It is known as Mekanko Spiriting Away, which is a normal trap, and both of its effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, equip that face-up monster to a Mekanko monster you control. Then if there is a ritual monster card on the field, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each equipped spell you control. The second effect reads, you can banish this card from your grave, special summon one of your Mekanko monsters that is banished or in your hand. So this is essentially DDR, but the thing is that with different dimensional reincarnation, it's special summoning from the banished pile. This one you're able to either summon from the banished pile or summon from the hand. So it's sort of like a Cyber Dragon DDR like effect, which is pretty good. The only problem is that if you don't have any cards in your banished pile, you might not be able to get its effect off. So I would recommend running. I believe the Mekanko deck is what, lights? Yeah, they're light. So I would recommend going down a Mekanko Chaos strategy, being able to banish a light and a dark to special summon a BLS, Chaos Sorcerer, or whatever. That way you can activate Spiriting Away and special summon a Mekanko that was banished off of the summon of a Chaos Sorcerer or a BLS, and just special summon it from there, which is pretty cool. So again, I recommend going down a chaos strategy, because I think the Chaos monsters can actually work well with the Mekankos. But there's a note underneath that says that the kanji for the name of the card excuse me, means to be disappeared or spirited away. It should be noted that this is basically a coin toss on it being translated. So if this remains Mekanko Kami Kakushi in the TCG by chance, that's why. Yes, the term here is the term used in the name of the Studio Ghibli movie. No, I mean, it's a nice, it's a nice little kanji lesson out. For those who want to learn kanji, that's pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. I believe it is kanji. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I apologize if I fucked it up. If I fucked up the ways of Japanese writing, I apologize. But with that being said, again guys, that will do it for today's video. Be sure to answer the question of the day, which is this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Duelist Nexus based on the cards that I have talked about already so far? Let me know down in the comments below, and that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more card discussions in the future, which get posted every Tuesday and sometimes on Wednesdays and weekends, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.